Don't, when someone comes around the corner, just square up and think, oh, I succeeded, I squared up to him. No, he's going to throw your legs back, he's going to go side to side, and you're going to be fighting for extended periods of time. So instead, every time you go to square up on this guy, let's finish with some form of connection where now you're a threat to him. He's got to deal with that. As he deals with that, there'll be other forms of connection you can get to him. Okay? And as he starts coming down the body, getting closer and closer, you're going to find situations where you can drag him in and stop that cycle, where now he's not just moving around like a frog and tiring you out. Now you have control over him. Okay? So the best tactical advice I can give you is use those easy methods of forming connection that we looked at in the previous section, and then combine it with some tactical advice. Every time you square up to your opponent and you've stalled or prevented his attempts at a guard pass, form an effective connection to him. I'm going to recommend close guard, half guard, in particular half guard with a tight waist around your opponent, and X guard and Ashigurami. Those are the four simplest ones for you to make use of. They will create a situation where at the end of every guard scramble engagement, you'll have a good attacking grip on him, and you have enough connection that he won't be able to just continually attack over time and wear you down. As we pointed out earlier in the video, the knee shield is one of the absolute most important methods whereby older, less athletically talented players can retain their guard against tough, younger, fitter opponents. The knee shield is basically a device to control distance. How does it do this, Brian? Okay, the knee shield is a combination of push and pull. My bottom leg is basically a half guard leg. If you just rotate just a little bit this way, Brian. Okay, my leg goes over his, and my foot is actively pointing down towards the mat like so. So that if Brian goes to move his leg away from me, there's resistance. Then, let's rotate this way. The top leg is the shield leg. It penetrates about a third of the way down the shin. Don't go too far across. That way your opponent can put weight on the top of your thigh and crush your knees together. This is not a good thing. We want a shallow penetration of the knee and your shin pushing into your opponent. So your bottom leg pulls and your top leg extends and pushes. But it doesn't extend so far that it slips on by. So you have to be disciplined with your knee position here. Now, what this means is that when Brian pushes towards me, his hip cannot advance. His chest can come forward, but it can't make contact with my chest. This means that I can always form a cross frame with my thumb just inside my training partner's bicep, second thumb just inside the elbow, and elbow up here on the collarbone and shoulder. So that when Brian tries to put weight on me, it's almost impossible for him to do so. You can hold this position for long periods of time because it's the strength of your legs holding him off. Your hands are much more cosmetic. They're just designed to shut down your opponent's lead shoulder and lead arm because those shoulders can cause problems with cross faces. So we always want to control that lead shoulder. So when he tries to come forward and cross face, it's quite difficult. Make yourself a little more comfortable by using the elbow. If you just push with the straight arm, you're going to get tired quickly. So make sure your elbow is bent, and it's the structure of your elbow that holds his upper body in place. Now, the most important element of pushing is done by this top leg. So when Brian tries to come forward, he can't do so. Now, if I didn't have my legs in place and his hip came around, and his hip touched my hip, that's when he would be pinning me here. I feel all of his weight now. So it's this hip, this right hip of his, that I want to kill by locking in just like so. Now, as he goes forward to put pressure on you, even if he runs around to the side, you're connected to him. My right leg forms connection. So when he tries to form angle, he can't. When he goes the other way, my left shin forms the connection. So he's caught between my two legs. When he tries to get upper body connection, he's shut out by my hands, my frames. So it's very, very hard for him to be effective in these positions in terms of positional advance. I have the ability to control distance with the right leg. When he goes backwards, the distance is controlled. With the left leg, when the distance comes forward, I'm in control. When the upper body comes in, that's controlled by my elbow and hand. And so you have total control over distance of your opponent. This is probably the single most efficient way for older less athletic players to control distance between themselves and their opponent and guard retention. It doesn't require any inversion, zero flexibility, very little strength, and enables you as an older athlete to use your great virtue, which is isometric strength over time. And you can exhaust and frustrate even talented opponents using this method. Even if I should lose my bottom leg, the top leg will still enable me to preserve distance. Then from here, as he goes to pass, I'll always be able to get my bottom leg back in place. Okay? Now, that's the basic structure of the knee shield. The next thing you need to learn is the relationship between the knee shield and the closed guard. Anytime your bottom leg comes out, you can place it on your opponent's hip. And if you can touch their hip with your foot, you can always put them back in closed guard. This simple but highly effective movement is the key element for guard retention and creating effective connection for older athletes. Okay, so here we are, knee shield in place, opponent pushing forward. I can always take my bottom foot and place it right there on my training partner's hip. The second my foot touches that hip, I can take my knee shield off now because my foot controls distance in a forwards direction. All I have to do now is switch my hips and bring them out to the side. When he tries to move back, he runs right into your back leg and then, of course, into a closed guard. At this point, he's caught. He can't do any form of guard passing until he opens up my closed guard now. You are now in an offensive position where you can start going on the attack. He can't even think about offense at this point. He has to now open up your closed guard and start all over again. Okay? So you can completely reboot the whole situation at any given moment from a knee shield. As he comes forward in here, all I have to do is take my foot and touch his hip. The second that occurs, we just push our hips out in this direction. So my hips go underneath his armpit and our feet just lock over his back. And it's so easy just to use this to put people back in guard repeatedly and frustrate them. Now they have to stop whatever they're doing, whatever grand plans they had to pass your guard, are now shelved until they open up your closed guard. And the whole time they do that, they're under attack from your various strangleholds, arm locks, etc., etc. So it's so simple. First, the structure, bottom foot prevents them moving backwards. Top knee and shin prevents them moving forwards. Upper body frame prevents their crossface and head control. And as a result, when they try to drive forward, it's so difficult for them. And at any given moment, your foot can just go from half guard to full guard. Half guard, full guard. And then from here, we just push our hips out and square up to our opponent. Off that squared up position, we've locked up, and now our opponent has to react to the dangers of closed guard. He can no longer continue with his guard passing. I know it seems so simple, guys, but this simple and mechanically highly effective tactic is the key for older or less athletically talented players to hold off the guard passing attempts of younger, fitter opponents. It works like a charm at all levels of the sport. It's one of those moves that doesn't look spectacular. I knew that already, or it looks so easy. Well, that's because it is. It's highly effective and works extremely well at all levels. As an older or less athletic athlete, this is going to be the key to your ability to hold guard against tough